Hello and welcome to another episode of Agenda 2030, a program designed to capture and critically examine Nigeria's efforts towards the attainment of the Sustainable Development Goals, popularly known as the SDGs. Just you may know, the SDGs are a set of 17 goals and 169 targets with the core objectives to end poverty and hunger, protect the planet from degradation, foster peace, realize human rights while trying to balance the three dimensions of development, that is economic, social, and environmental. And in demonstration of the commitment to the implementation of the goals, the Nigerian government established the Office of the Senior Special Assistant to the President on SDGs with Princess Adejoke Orelope-Adefulire as the lead driver of the agenda. The SDGs implementation in Nigeria is effectively coordinated by the office with the private sector, donor agencies, civil society organizations as key partners. I am Tony Nkamiang John. Thanks for staying with us. And as usual, you can always watch this program and other episodes by subscribing to our YouTube channel on youtube.com/Fresh News TV and youtube.com/Agenda 2030 TV. You can also watch this program live on Facebook. Just log on to www.facebook.com/Fresh News NG and www.facebook.com/Agenda 2030 TV. Follow us on all our social media platforms at Agenda 2030 TV on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And do remember to drop your comments and share with your contacts. Do use the hashtag Agenda 2030 and hashtag Agenda 2030 TV.
Agenda 2030. As a successor framework for the Millennium Development Goals, the global community rolled out a bigger, deeper, and more encompassing framework called the Sustainable Development Goals, designed to transform our world, lift the poor out of poverty, as well as ensure inclusive and healthy society. On Agenda 2030, we take you on a media trip to the global destination of the future we want. With everyone on board, we focus on the people and their struggle, the civil society and their agitations, the government and her development effort, the global development agenda, its 17 goals and 169 targets. We bring you all the deliberations, insightful conversations and high-level partnerships on the road to global destination. Agenda 2030, showing on this channel. Agenda 2030, leaving no one behind.
Welcome back. In the last episode of Agenda 2030, we brought to you an overview of celebration of the last United Nations Day in Nigeria, which held in Abuja. The day was an opportunity for stakeholders to demonstrate their commitment towards taking concrete actions for the effective implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals. This week, we will be bringing to you more reports from the celebration. Also, to be featured in this edition are reports from the recently concluded Global Festival of Action for SDGs, which took place in Bonn, Germany, and the cycling competition aimed at steering action for climate change, tagged Racing for SDGs. For the curtain raiser, here's a report on the awesome performance by the children at the United Nations Day celebration.
The tenets of the Sustainable Development Goals emphasizes the care and protection of children, the girl child, women, and the vulnerable group. And on the occasion of the United Nations Day celebration in Nigeria, the children made the day count by re-echoing the future they want. With poetic recitation and special songs rendition led by renowned music superstar Zidon Paparella, the children drew the attention of the government, private sector, and other stakeholders involved in the implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals to the plight of vulnerable children in the society.
Do you know the 17 goals for sustainable development? Let me now invite you to go on a ride to go through. 1. No poverty. This will mean zero hunger. Wow! And when that is done, we will achieve food security, improve nutrition, and promote agriculture. And because we have balanced diet, we will have good health and well-being, which will promote healthy life and well-being for all at all ages. interest. 4, quality education. I am so excited about 5, gender equality. That is, promote gender equality and empower all women and girls. 6, clean water and sanitation. 7 is very intriguing and every Nigerian involved. Affordable clean energy. Simply put, no more lesser.
That was a poem recitation by one of the children, urging governments to show more commitment in the implementation of the SDGs in Nigeria, while urging everyone to make the world a better place for all. The children further pressed home their call as they presented a song by late American king of pop, Michael Jackson, "We Are the World."
We are the children. We are the ones who make a better day. So let's start giving. There's a choice we're making. We're saving our own lives. It's to make a better day. Just you and me.
Award-winning Nigerian singer Nansel Nimiel, also known as Zidon Paparella, spiced up the occasion as he performed the SDGs theme song written and produced by him with the children.
Another highlight of the United Nations Day celebration was the unveiling of the 13 Nigerian SDGs ambassadors by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Sustainable Development Goals, Princess Adejoke Orelope-Adefulire, for the 2030 agenda in Nigeria.
The 13 popular Nigerian celebrities were presented with ambassadorial awards and entrusted with the task of popularizing the SDGs in Nigeria. The celebrities include Nigeria's leading comedian Ali Baba, actress Omotola Jalade Ekende, actress Joke Silva, singer Dija, versatile artist Chugirl, singer and actor Sonny Janja, young movie producer Uzi Usman, actor and TV show host Teju Babyface, singer Zidon Paparella. Others were popular musician King Sunny Ade, singer and songwriter Innocent Idibia, popularly known as Tubaba, and singer Waje. The ambassadors were chosen based on their general accessibility, credibility, and availability to communicate the messages of Agenda 2030 effectively. These Nigerian SDGs ambassadors are expected to generate momentum and citizens' commitments for the achievement of the SDGs in Nigeria, raise awareness on all the goals with a view to enhance actions by key players to attain the SDGs, as well as mobilize critical mass participation needed for success of the development framework.
The Senior Special Assistant to the President on SDGs, Princess Adejoke Orelope-Adefulire, was at the opening plenary of the Global Festival of Action on Sustainable Development Goals, where she re-emphasized Nigeria's commitment to the actualization of 2030 agenda. The report. At the plenary, which took place at the World Conference Center in Bern, Germany, Princess Orelope-Adefulire told the gathering that the 17 goals and 169 targets are not mere promises or wish lists, but rather a set of actionable demands from citizens across the world on leaders to provide the people and the future generations with a safe, secured and prosperous planet. Reminding delegates at the conference of the landmark adoption of the 2013 agenda in September 2015, she said the Nigerian government was proud to be one of the major drivers of My World Survey that enabled the United Nations Millennium Campaign, the predecessor of the SDGs Action Campaign, to reach out to over 10 million people across the world to voice their priorities and influence the emergence of the SDGs. She pleaded Nigeria's government commitment to the partnership with the campaign and other actors to ensure that the needs of the people remain at the heart of the implementation of the SDGs in terms of prioritizing, financing, monitoring and reporting.
The SDGs are about people, and no government alone can claim to have the single magic to achieve SDGs. Hence, the need for the adoption of multi-stakeholders approach, bringing on board civil society organizations, private sector, the academia, the youth, the women, indigenous and marginalized people to the implementation table. At the higher political level, the President of Nigeria has inaugurated the Presidential Council on Sustainable Development Goals to provide political impetus and multi-stakeholder coordination to our journey towards achieving SDGs. Working with United Nations SDG Action Campaign, we're establishing a civil society advisory group to work with government and ensure that accountability to the needs and aspirations of citizens of Nigeria remain at the core of our national implementation efforts. Based on our shared mandate, we are rolling out mobilization strategy targeting millions of Nigerians and Africans through My World Survey 2030. All our communities, rural area, riverine community has a representative to educate, to inspire, to motivate, to mobilize the people of the rural areas. So we have the core champions in each of our rural community in Nigeria. The youth corpus, as about 2,400 are designated for that purpose, in order not to leave anyone behind.
The Global Festival of Action for Sustainable Development is the world's annual event to celebrate, empower, and connect the global community driving action for the Sustainable Development Goals. Organized by the United Nations SDG Action Campaign with the support of the German Federal Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development, the festival connects an inspiring mix of business leaders, activists, United Nations representatives, academia, government, innovators, global organizations, and the media from across the globe. Taking place in Bonn each year, the festival provides a dynamic and interactive space to showcase the latest innovations, tools, and approaches to SDG action and connect the organizations and individuals from different sectors and regions to exchange, build partnership, and make the impact of their solutions scale. In a bid to promote the attainment of the Sustainable Development Goals SDGs through sports, the federal government recently collaborated with stakeholders in using cycling for awareness campaign on Agenda 2030. Here are the highlights from the events. At the maiden edition of the cycling competition tagged Raising for Sustainable Development which recently aired in Abuja, cycling enthusiasts and professionals turned out in their numbers to either contest or catch a glimpse of the fascinating show, which held about 2.2 million naira in cash prize. Over 200 cyclists participated in the various categories of the contest, which cut across enthusiasts, veterans, and professionals, with more than 3,000 people turning out as spectators. At the end of the race, Aribibia Okungba and Sarah Samuel emerged as the best male and female contestants, respectively, in the veteran category, while Afiz Bakari and Ese Ukperesaye also defeated their closest rivals to bag the coveted prize as the overall winner in the male and female pro categories. In her remarks at the event, the Senior Special Assistant to the President on SDGs, Princess Adejoke Orelope-Adefulire, who was represented by the Secretary of Program in the SDGs office, Waziri Laminu, stated that the Racing for Sustainable Development cycling competition was designed to promote tourism, the sports of cycling, and public awareness for all goals of the SDGs, especially the 10 goals that relate to cycling activities.
Expose the SDGs to Nigerians and to Abuja residents in particular, and to encourage people to also come out to cycle in view of the adverse effect of global warming and all that.
According to Femi Akonji, Chairman, DAPA Exclusive Style Limited, the initiator of the project, the competition also offers a platform to enable Nigerians take up environmentally friendly lifestyle, build sustainable cities, maintain a healthy lifestyle, and help participants earn a living through the related opportunities that are created.
Tying cycling to the Sustainable Development Goals, and we are trying to see how we can boost the sport of cycling, boost the activity of cycling in Nigeria, and also use it to create employment. And how do we want to do that? We want to see how we can tie cycling to poverty eradication. And if they decide that they want to, from there, transfer into doing the sports of cycling, that is another avenue to become, a champion in the sports.
Every year, the United Nations and the global community celebrate 6th of April as International Day of Sport for Development and Peace. The cycling competition is therefore one of such events designed to commemorate the day. The event was supported by Sterling Bank, Coca-Cola, Different Limited, and Firmcare Diagnostic Center, amongst others. As the global community continues to intensify efforts to attain the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, the Senior Special Assistant to the President on SDGs, Princess Adejoke Orelope-Adefulire, has urged all stakeholders to make concerted efforts to ensure that the SDGs take center stage in development planning and execution. The presidential aide made this demand while speaking on the topic Forging Smart Partnership with multi-stakeholders for the SDGs, the Nigerian experience at the 43rd annual meeting of the Islamic Development Bank Group in Tunisia. Princess Adejoke Orelope-Adefulire called on stakeholders to embrace smart partnerships to accelerate progress on the SDGs in view of the fact that multi-stakeholder partnership is the key driver of the SDG implementation. According to Princess Orelope-Adefulire, the SDGs office has also taken proactive steps by collaborating with key stakeholders locally, such as the National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, and the United Nations Development Programme, UNDP, to map out existing SDGs-related data, followed by the aggregation of 126 SDGs indicators cutting across 17 goals and 169 targets.
Knowing that the SDG comes with three dimensions of social development, economic development, climate change and environment, and it's about people. And if it's about people, then we channel the implementation towards the people at the grassroots. And don't forget, the slogan is leaving no one behind. We have mobilized people, especially the private sector, the civil society organization, women group, youth organization, people living with disability, and other stakeholders, donor agencies, the UN system, to come together, the legislators also, both the chamber, the upper and lower chamber, to work together to see to the implementation of the global agenda. One interesting thing that I can say that has gladdened my heart is that the toolkit for the measurement of performance, both for the private sector and public sector, has been harmonized. So we're having a document as an instrument to track the project performance and implementation, and that speaks to MAPS, mainstreaming, acceleration, and prioritizing SDGs. The president is committed, and during the last General Assembly, reaffirmed his commitment that SDG must be achieved in Nigeria, and that people quality of life is very important for the people of Nigeria, no matter who you are, your sex, your status, your religion. You must live a happy life, and that's the essence of sustainable development.
The presidential aide further noted that the SDGs office in Nigeria has undertaken a number of steps to entrench the principle of partnership in her efforts to accelerate the attainment of the SDGs. These include establishment of multi-stakeholder engagement mechanisms such as the Private Sector Advisory Group. Nigeria was the first to establish the advisory group, the Donor Partnership Forum on SDGs, Civil Society Strategy Group on SDGs, and the mobilization of influencers such as SDGs Ambassadors and SDGs Champions for SDGs advocacy. And away from that, it is now time to bring to you our quiz segment. On this segment, we will be bringing to our audience at home and respondents on the streets questions related to the SDGs. Selected winners from among the participants will be invited to the Agenda 2030 studios for the live quiz segment, from where the overall winner and the runners-up will be entitled to our special prizes. First, let's join Adesuwa Osui for the views of the respondents on the streets.
Hello there, I'm Adesuwa Osui. Last week we brought to our respondents on the streets questions about the SDGs. We asked how many goals are there in the SDGs, and not so many people knew that. So for those of you who didn't know, there are actually 17 goals in the SDGs. This week we're going to be bringing you something not so different. We're going to be asking how many targets are there in the SDGs.
30, say 15. 169.
I think about 169.
15.
Actually, I'm not a followership of any developmental target in the FCT.
169.
I don't know.
It's something like 160.
I don't know how many surgeries.
Welcome back. Last week, we asked what is the full meaning of the SDGs and when was it adopted? For those who didn't know, the full meaning of the SDGs is Sustainable Development Goals, and it was adopted in September 2015. We have some winners and will be contacted. For our question for the week, what is the lifespan of the SDGs? Send your answers to the number and email on your screen, and do endeavor to include your name and your phone number in your response. Remember, you can always watch this program and other episodes by subscribing to our YouTube channels on youtube.com/FreshNewsTV and youtube.com/Agenda 2030. You can also watch this program live on Facebook. Just log on to www.facebook.com/FreshNewsNG and www.facebook.com/Agenda 2030 TV. Follow us on all our social media platforms at Agenda 2030 TV on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Remember to drop your comments and share with your contacts. Do use the hashtag Agenda 2030 and Agenda 2030 TV. And that's our package for the week. Thank you very much for being part of this program this week. I am Toyin Kamyang John. We will see you again next week. Until then, bye.